Hey there, this is Red, and it's time for another episode of Red Plays. So I just done a little review of Heroes of Tenefyr, which is this game here. And there is on Kickstarter, they're kickstarting a new update to this, an expansion. So I thought I would do a quick playthrough to show you how the game works. All right. What I'm actually going to do, just to be clear, is in the back, this is the game book. In the back here, they have a quick mode. And I'm going to play this quick mode is what we're going after. So what you should note out here is I have a level 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 sets of dungeons. Normally when you'd play, you would have 2 sets of these. So there'd be 2 level 1s, 2 level 2s, blah, 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 blah. And then you'd have a end monster that you would go to fight against a boss. In the quick mode, you just get 1 of each, and these have 4 monsters in them. And then you use, instead of this side of the track, which has more spaces on it, you switch over to the quick mode side of the track. On the quick mode side of the track, you're going to go, well, it says quick mode, you're going to go very fast because there's a lot fewer spots on the track. And then these cards here say, so what happens when you defeat a monster in this game? So actually I can show these monsters because the top monsters get revealed. When you defeat a monster in the game, they go into your deck. All right, so if I were to defeat this kobold trickster right here, he would end up going into my deck. So what these spaces on the board here mean is there are more monsters that aren't in these decks. So when I go from here to here, I get 2 level 3 monsters from random from the side decks that I can place into my character decks. Right now, my character decks are fairly lame. Because I'm playing 2-player, I'm playing 2 classes for each character. So what I get is I get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, I should have 14. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. There you go, 14. I should have 6 1 cards, 6 0 cards, and then I have 1 for each of the 2 classes that I have. So Tony here is Thief and Cleric, right? That's going to make up my character deck. So as I defeat a monster, they go into my deck, so therefore I can use them to fight with later. All right, so what I've got is I've got Tony here. He's playing the Cleric Thief. And then I have Janet over here. She's playing the Barbarian Bard. All right. Okay, so the way the game works is fairly simple. We decide which dungeon we want to go in. And it usually makes sense to go into the level 1 dungeon first. Surprise, surprise. Then I take a look at what the monster is, right? So Tony's going to be the starting one here. I've got a kobold trickster. Let's take a look at this kobold trickster. It says he has, for 2 players, he has 2 health. Okay, at the start of the combat, the starting player shuffles 2 basic 0 cards from their discard pile into their deck. Well, I don't have a discard pile, so that works out well for me. So Tony's going to draw 3 cards because he's the starting player. So I go 1, 2, 3. And I'm going to look at what I have in my hand here. I've got a 0, a 1, and my thief skill. So my thief skill says if you are the thief, you may discard 1 card from your hand to take 1 random dungeon card from the reserve of the dungeon at the current level and place that card in your discard pile. So that wouldn't get me a net gain. What I'm looking to do is to try to get to this 2 attack to kill off the kobold trickster. So what I could do is I could discard and draw 3 new cards, but I don't think I'm going to do that. What I'm going to do is I can rely on Janet for help. So I think 1 gets me halfway there. I think Janet will be able to draw cards to get us up to 2. All right, so Janet is going to draw cards. And we see that she's got a 0, a 1 in her Bard skill. So what's the Bard skill do? If you are the Bard, you may discard the top 2 cards of your deck to double the total power of 1 other player. And this can be used on a player who hasn't taken a turn yet. So this doesn't do us a whole lot of good in this instance, but it is actually a very powerful card later on. So we're not going to use our bard skill and we're not going to use our thief skill this turn. We're just going to use our basic attack, which we only need 2, right? So 1 from this character and 1 from this character. So Tony didn't get the kill. Janet actually got enough attack to kill this monster. So this monster is going to go into her pile, into her discard pile. So these become her discard, and this becomes Tony's discard. All right, had we failed that battle, let's say for some reason Janet wasn't able to draw any attack. Maybe she used it all up earlier, and she went for her last cards in her deck were zeros, and she couldn't get up to the 2 attack. We would lose and get booted out of the dungeon. All right. So what happens at this point is we're going to decide whether we want to stay or not. Now we think we want to stay because we still got a lot of cards in our deck. All right, we can keep drawing for now. And we're in the level 1 dungeon, so there's not a whole lot of threat. So we're going to grab our next monster. Our next monster is an orc. So the orc's going to take 4 attacks. So that's a little bit more difficult because we each need to have 2, right? And it says at the start of combat, each player discards the top card from their deck. All right, so I'm going to lose a 0. And Janet's going to lose a 0. All right, so Janet's going to draw 3 cards. She's going to 0, a 1, and a 1. So that puts us halfway there. So what you can count on maybe is Tony to draw 2 1s in a hand. So if we look at what Tony's drawn so far, he's gotten 1 1. So it's possible. The orc's probably one of the tougher ones out of this. We'll go ahead and we'll stick with that hand for Janet. So we go over to Tony. Tony's going to draw 3 cards. A basic, and his cleric skill. And the cleric skill says, if you're the cleric, each other player may shuffle up to 2 cards of their choice from the discard pile into their deck. So that's not what we want to do. We need to get some attack. So we're going to discard these cards and draw 3 new cards. So a basic, a 1, and a 0. Okay. So Tony's going to stick with this hand because he's got 2, and that complements Janet's 2 to get us up to the 4 that we need to kill the orc. So we kill the orc. The orc is going to come down into Tony's deck. If we look, the orc's got quick strike, and you get to draw an extra card. So that's a nice card to have. All right, so now we're trying to decide whether we want to continue on. The things that we haven't seen is we haven't seen Janet's barbarian skill, which makes more attack. Tony's deck's looking pretty thin here. He's almost done. I think we'll continue. So Tony's going to take the start player. We're going to get our card out here. We have a kobold. So the kobold says, at the start of the combat, the starting player shuffles 2 basic 0 cards from their discard pile into their deck. Well, that's not great, but we only need 2 attack. So I take 2 out of my discard pile. I'm going to shuffle it into my deck. So the problem is I'm going to get some worthless cards in there. All right, so let's see what Tony gets as a starting hand. You can get 3 cards, 1, a 0, hey, surprise, 0, and a 0. All right, so he's going to discard that. I'll draw 3 more cards. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so he's got 3. So at this point, he actually defeats the kobold. So the kobold goes into his deck. Janet doesn't need to go. And his cards go in the discard. All right, so now we decide whether we want to continue on. Now, there is the possibility that Janet could have enough attack to defeat this monster. If it's another kobold like that, it's quite possible that you would be able to take it out. If we do that, we're able to get this reward when we complete that dungeon, which is a nice boon. And it's got 2 options on it, and we would choose one of those to happen. So I think that's what we're going to do. Is what we haven't seen is we haven't seen Janet's barbarian card. We're hoping that the monster isn't too bad. If it's an orc, it might be tough to get the 4 attack, but if it's one of those kobolds, then it should be pretty easy. So we will continue on, and we're going to hope that Janet can solo this last monster because Tony doesn't have any cards, so he can't contribute any when it comes to his turn. So we're going to flip the card here, and we've got a slime. The slime's going to take 3 attack, and he's got no effect on us. So let's see what we can do here. So Janet's going to get 3 cards. 1, 2, 3. Well, 2's not going to cut it, so she's going to get rid of those cards and see what happens next. So we get the Barbarian, 2, 3. It says if you're the Barbarian, you can draw 3 extra cards, so she's going to draw her extra card and not enough. Okay, so this didn't work out for us. So what happens is we get booted out of the dungeon. We're actually going to move forward 2 spaces on the track when we get booted out of the dungeon. All right, so what's going to happen there is we're going to get 2 level 3 cards. I'm going to just grab 2 out of here. And because we went forward 2, we're going to get 3 level 1 cards. I think these are level 1s. We're going to get 3 level 1s. So 3 level 1s. All right, so let's see what we got here. This is one of the level 3s, and we want to look at this side of it, and it says +3 power if you have 3 or more basic 1 cards in your discard pile. All right, so let's grab that one. We'll put that one in Janet's deck. This one is a bash, which is just 2 attack. I think Janet's better on the attacky stuff, so again, we'll put this one in Janet's deck. What else do we get here? We got a ponder. Search your deck for 1 card and put it into your discard pile and then draw 1. Let's put that in Tony's deck because Tony looks like a ponder kind of guy. Hidden potential. Double the power of one of your cards. Let's put that in Janet's deck because we already put those big cards over there. And then we have Insight. If you continue in this dungeon, the next enemy gets -2 power. Oh, that's nice. Plus it's 2 attack. Okay, we'll put that in Tony's deck. All right, so we're going to get ready to go back into the dungeon at this point. Now our goal is to be able to exhaust those level 5 ones. So if you take a look, let's take a look real fast while I'm shuffling here at this level 5 monster. So it's going to take 11 attack to take it out. So between 6 cards, we need to come up with 11 attack. And then when a player draws a basic card, they discard it and draw a new card. Ouch. Okay, so that's going to be really tough to do. We need to get a lot of special cards in there and get rid of those basic cards. There's some cards to help thin the decks out. All right, so let's start up this round. So we've got some better cards in here. I don't think we're going to worry about finishing off this level 2 one. We're going to go, or level 1. We're going to go ahead and go for this level 2. All right, so let's look at what the imp has. So the imp says, at the start of the combat, each player shuffles 2 basic 0 cards from the discard pile back into their deck. Okay, not a problem because we're starting with the imp. We only need to get 3 attack. All right, so Tony is the starting player this time around. So he's going to get 3 cards. 0, 1, and the thief again. No, we're going to discard that and grab 3 other cards. 0, 0, and training. Well, it says I can remove a card from my discard pile. So let's do that. We're going to play with these 3 cards, and it says I can remove a card from my discard pile. So I'm going to remove training out of the game and thin my deck down a little bit. All right, so that takes me back over to Janet, and Janet needs to help out. She needs to get 2 attack here to complement my 1. Ooh, so wasn't great shuffling, but the cards that I've got there are my bash, my comeuppance, and my hidden potential. So she's doing way more than enough damage in order to kill off that imp. So we will take that, and she's going to kill off the imp. So she gets the imp card. All right, she's going to be first player. We're going to decide to continue in this dungeon. So the next monster that we've got is a rotworm. So it says he gets -1 power for each basic 0 card in your discard pile. So if I take a look here, I've got 1, 2 in that pile, and none in this pile. So he's at 5 right now. All right, so let's see what Janet can do with 3 cards. 1, 2, 3. I think we're going to discard these. We're going to draw 3 more cards. 2, 3. Ack! This is not working out well. We need to get up to 5. Okay, but what we are doing is we're putting these in our discard pile. And we'll draw 3 more. 1, 2, 3. Okay, we're going to stop here. Let's take a look at how many zeros are in our discard pile, because that's our subtractor there, right? So now we've got 1, 2, 3, 3 there, 4, 5. So if we've got 5 in the discard pile, he's only at 2. Janet's going to kill him with her 3 attack, right? So the worm's gone. We are victorious there. All right, these have been kind of rough, but I've got a lot of cards there, not many for Janet. I think we'll try one more in the level 2 one here. So what do we have here? We have an ogre. An ogre's got 5. Okay, so let's see what we can do with Tony here. Tony's going to get a 1, a 1, and a cleric. So the cleric card says, if you are the cleric, each other player may shuffle up to 2 cards of their choice from their discard pile into their deck. Okay, so I know I've got 2 and we need to get 3. So I can have Janet over here go look through her discard pile. And we see she's got, let's see here, 2 cards. So if we do 2 cards, she could put her bash back in. And then she had another one maybe. It would add a little bit. Well, the hidden potential will double the power of a card. All right, so let's put these 2 cards back into her deck. And we'll stop there, right? So Tony's only generating 2 attack. So we're looking to Janet to generate 3 more attack. All right. So she's going to draw her 3 cards. 0, 0, and the hidden potential. So she's not going to want that. That doesn't do any good. Doubling the power of a 0, no good. So she's going to draw 3 more cards. A 1, there's 3, and her barbarian skill, which allows her to draw 3 extra cards. I don't think we'll bother using that because we've got enough. So that's 3, 4, 5 that we need in order to kill the ogre. So again, because Janet's got the finishing blow, she gets the ogre. All right, what I don't think we're going to be able to do is take on this next monster. Because we don't have enough cards, and the way these have been going for attack, we really need Janet's attack, and Tony hasn't been generating very much. So I think we need to stop there and exit out of the dungeon. All right, so we're going to exit out of the dungeon. Our discards are going to go back into our card pile. Because we exited out without getting beaten out of the dungeon, we're going to step up just 1. In this one, we get 3 level 2 cards. So I'm going to grab 3 level 2 cards out of here. We get, let's see here. The 3 cards we get are a headbutt, a comeback, and a smash. Let's see here. Let's put the headbutt and the smash. We'll put those in Tony's deck, and then we'll put the comeback in Janet's deck. All right, we'll do some more shuffling. All right, now I'm trying to get ready to go after that number 5 deck that's out there, or number 5 one that's out there. So let's see here. Oh, this should get flipped up when we left. So. And then we'll shuffle Janet up a little bit here. We got to figure we're not completing any of these and getting the rewards. So if you look at this, like if we had gotten all the way through this one, these are the rewards on that one. So the reward is you can remove 1 card of your choice from your deck. Or you can put 1 card of your choice from your deck on top of your deck. So that's kind of a start off or slim your deck out a little bit, right? So they have these neat little bonuses. They're not like earth-shatteringly fantastic bonuses, but they're nice little bonuses. Okay, so I think we're going to go ahead and move on up to level 3 and see how that goes. All right. So I think Janet's going to start this round. If we go for level 3, we've got these kobold drummers there. And each basic 0 card gets -1 power. All right, I think it's going to be the last round we played, and we'll call it as this is kind of the basic intro here. All right. So Janet is going to get 3 cards, and holy cow, that is exactly not what she wants. All right, so this is much better. So what she's got here is she has a hidden potential that's going to double the power of a card. She's got a smash, which is worse than a 2, and then she's got a basic of a 1. So she's got 5 attack herself right there. She will stick with those 3 cards, and she kills the kobold drummer. And that's kind of nice. The bonus on the kobold drummer's card is if you're a bard, each other player's basic 1 cards get +1 power. So that's kind of nice because she happens to be the bard. So if that comes up, it works out well. So that's another thing to keep track of, is some of these cards do better for certain players. So we're going to continue on in this dungeon. Ooh, we have a Raging Ogre this time. So the Raging Ogre says, at the start of the combat, each player discards the top 2 cards of their deck. Okay, well, so we're going to go 1, 2. Ooh, those are a couple of nice cards to get rid of. Oh, we got rid of our cleric and a basic. Okay, so Tony is going to start off, get his 3 cards. Let's see here. I don't think we're going to use Thief skill, but if we stick with this, we've got 1, 2, and then the quick strike there says that I can draw an extra card. And that'll get us close to halfway there, assuming I don't draw 0. Let's go ahead and do that. So we're going to stick with this hand. We'll draw an extra card. Oh, that was a 0. Crap. Okay. So Janet's going to have to make up for Tony not playing a good hand that time. So Janet's going to draw 3. She's got a barbarian skill, her basic, and a basic. All right, so we can go looking for more cards. We can discard these 3 and grab 3 new ones, or I can stick with it and use my barbarian skill to draw 3 more cards. So right now we've got 1, 2, 3 attack. I think that's not enough to get 4 more and 3 more cards. So we're going to discard these 3 and draw 3 new cards. 1, 2, 3. Oh, that's an interesting set. So I think that's going to potentially get us what we need. So we've got a comeback, which has +3 power if you have 3 or more zeros. Comeuppance, which is +3 power if you have 3 or more basic 1 cards. And 1 player may choose a card from their discard pile and put it in another player's discard pile. Okay. So what I really need is I need 3 zeros or 3 1s. So what I see is 1 of each there. There's 2 1s, 2 zeros, 3 zeros, 4 zeros. All right, so I have 4 zeros in there. So that's going to give me my +3. So I'm going to be at 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Got enough to kill the ogre. All right, so the ogre is going to come over here into Janet's pile. All right, do we continue on? I think so. We still got a lot of cards left, but I've seen a lot of our good cards come out. So I think we will continue on. All right, so the next monster is a werewolf. The starting player draws 1 less card during their draw step. Ooh, that's kind of a rough one. All right, so Janet's only going to get 2 cards. We're going to see a 0 and a 1. I think we want to look for better than that. Got a 1 and a 1, so that's a 2. So we only need 3 more. I think we'll stick with that. All right, so Tony's got to come up with 3 over here. So we have a 1, a 0, and a 2. There we go. So that's the 3 that we need. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now if I look at this one here, it says insight. If you continue in this dungeon, the next enemy gets -2. So he's going to kill this werewolf, and I think we will continue in this dungeon, and he's going to start, and the enemy gets -2. So that's kind of cool. So what do we get here? We have a zombie ogre. Each basic card gets +1 power. So I only need 8 to defeat him. Only 8. All right, so we're going to draw 3 for Tony because he's starting. Okay, so according to the zombie ogre, each basic card gets +1. So I would be at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I think we will stick with that because we only need 3 more. All right, let's see what Janet can do over here. All right, so what Janet's got is she's got a basic one. So her bard is she can discard 2 cards from her deck, which she can't do, so that's not going to do her any good. The basic's going to count as 2, and the training's going to count as a 3rd, which is what we needed in order to defeat the zombie ogre. The other thing is I can remove a card of my choice from my discard pile. So I can look at my discards and say, hey, I'm going to kick a 0 out of there and thin my deck a little bit, try to optimize my deck. So Janet's going to get the kill. We're going to kill the zombie ogre. And then we get this reward. So the reward here says I get to choose one together, take a random level 1 dungeon card and a level 2 dungeon card of your choice from the reserve, then choose up to 2 players and add the cards to their deck. So we would grab cards out of the reserve and put them in our decks, or each player may remove 1 card of their choice from their deck, and 1 player may give up to 4 cards of their choice in their deck from another player. So I think I would go with that one because the way this works is we're getting a lot of cards already. I don't think I need extras. So I think the removing, what I would end up doing is they'd be like, oh yeah, let's get rid of that basic 0. And over here, we'd get rid of a basic 0. And then I might look if I had a card that was like a cleric specific card, maybe I kick it over here. Or if Tony had some, maybe he's got one of the bard or barbarian specific cards, he would kick it over to Janet, right? And that's pretty much how the game goes. We'd go up to the next one, we'd get 2 level 3s. And what we're aiming for is that by the end here, we need to defeat all of the level 5s, all right? So I just wanted to keep this really short. That's a quick, it's not even a full playthrough, it's just a quick playthrough. So you can get an idea of what this game is like. I will link to my review, which is before that, and I'll probably have my review link back here. And I also have a link up there for the Kickstarter that happens to be going on right now to expand this realm of cards and add a little bit more variety to it. So that's a playthrough of Heroes of Tenefyr, and when I do another one, I'll go all the way and play all the way through the playthrough. This was just a taste. So that's it for now. Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching this episode. Please leave any comments or suggestions you have below. If you like this episode, make sure to click on that like button, and you can click on the crazy jackalope to stay up to date with any new content that rolls out.